Hello and welcome to Roll for Review, where we are going to look at the very best in tabletop RPG crowdfunding. This week, we are looking at Kickstarter campaigns that launched in the first half of April. I'm Joe, creator of the Wanderer's Guide, and I help manufacture, produce, and fulfill board games and tabletop products for a living.
Hello, humanoids. I'm Hannah, also known as Halfling Hannah. I'm a forever DM and a DM resource creator over on YouTube, Patreon, and my website, halflinghobbies.com.
Hello, and I am Alex, a designer and marketer for The Wanderer's Guide, an everyday RPG player and gamer.
And we have a couple of special announcements that we're going to talk about today. First of all, before any of you people start commenting, leave Hannah's curtains alone. Okay, we don't need
Stop
to.
It.
We don't need all of the negative comments in the YouTube section.
There were technical difficulties, everyone.
I have a whole bar. Okay, look at the other videos. I have an awesome setup. This is not normal. There's cords everywhere. I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, we've been having a little technical difficulties, but even more important than Hannah's awesome curtains, all right, is I wonder how long I can get this to keep going for the entire episode. It'll be never mind. All right. But okay, sorry. I am out of it. I'm just gonna be honest with everybody. I had my second COVID shot today, and I have a little bit of drugs, a little bit of alcohol, a lot of caffeine in my system right now.
He's in a weird time.
Yeah, so
Joe's in a mood right now.
He's traveling through different dimensions.
Alex was like, "How are you?" I was like, "My brain feels like it's right here." And Alex was like, "I don't understand." I have something to say, and it's important. We are switching from Twitch to YouTube live streaming next episode. Next episode, we are done with Twitch. We are casting off the shackles of the Twitch overlords, okay? So we don't even need to be nice. You know what? Screw you, Twitch. We hate you.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
I don't think that's
we love
true.
all of you on Twitch. Joe's going off the rails.
Joe's brain
YouTube
is
where it's at. We're going to be YouTube famous. That's what's up. We're all going to become millionaires and live in a content house. That's not true.
And I can afford new curtains.
That's right. No, we're bringing those curtains with us. It is part of the package. But we'll be on YouTube live next week. But if you are exclusively a Twitch watcher, if you watch us exclusively on Twitch, and I know we have dozens of people that watch us on Twitch live, please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe so that you can be alerted on when we go live. Just search for Roll for Review. Go to YouTube, subscribe to our channel. We're getting hundreds and hundreds of views when we upload to YouTube after we record on Twitch anyway. But
And so sorry that Google Meet just froze. Those are the technical difficulties we experienced before. Yep, everyone just froze. I'm going to go ahead and restart Google Meet. Wow. And we're back.
Okay, what? Fine.
Google Meet.
Anyways, if this is your first time watching, I'm sorry. This is going to be a weird episode because we have lots of technical difficulties. I'm sick and drunk. Hannah's embarrassed about her curtains.
We're just having a time.
But if this is your first time tuning in to Roll for Review and you want to know how this works, Hannah is going to explain it.
Is it my turn now?
Yes.
No more announcements?
No more announcements. You're up. Let's do this.
We're going to do the other announcement later?
Yes, the other announcement later is actually going to be my fun find.
Hey, pay attention for that later. Okay, so this is Roll for Review, where the three of us with very different tastes and very different styles go around and collect TTRPG related Kickstarters like Xanathar and Tasha collect, well, everything. And then we show them off to you. So what we are going to do is we are going to present to you 3 of our favorite projects during this period. We do the first of the month and we do the end of the month. And each of us has chosen 3. We are going to review that Kickstarter with you. We are going to talk about the awesome things and why we picked it. And then at the very end, we are going to give it a roll for review. This is a number out of 1 to 20 on a 20-sided dice, as if you rolled it on a table, because we're big nerds and that's what we do. And this is basically how we feel the Kickstarter has done. We can also add modifications to it, both positive or negative, depending on a whole host of different things, like trains. That happened last time. And literature for me.
Yeah.
So you'll also want to make sure that you stick around to the very end of the episode, where we present our fun finds and one very fun announcement.
Yes, absolutely. And again, for those of you who like what you hear but miss any part of this episode, definitely go over to our YouTube channel, especially because we will start to be streaming there 2 weeks from now. From now on. After this episode, they'll be at 7:30 Central, same time. And definitely like, comment, subscribe to that channel. It is in the chat. And feel free to click that bell to be notified when we do go live and when there's new content available.
Yay. All right, we're going to get started with Joe.
Me, I'm up first. I'm ready
You're
to
up
go.
first, my friend.
I am excited. Do you want to know why I'm excited?
Joe,
I
why are
know
you
that-
excited?
Because I know that people have said, Joe, why do you choose to review these like Kickstarters that have raised like $1 million or $500,000? Why aren't
So
you
many people
helping
have said
out
that.
so many people have said that.
So
They're like,
many people.
Joe, you
A
are
million
corporate
people have said that.
chill. You're being paid off. And I want to tell you right now, Roll for
Entirely
Review
true.
cannot be bought.
No.
Cannot be bought.
Can't be.
I went a completely different way with that. Sorry.
No, but I am excited.
There, you're going to ask for money.
I am excited because all of the projects that I'm reviewing today are by first-time creators,
That's awesome.
which is very exciting to me.
Love that.
Ooh, okay.
So, first project that I'm going to talk about today is a bit of a weird one. So you're going to have to click it, buckle in, all right? Click it or ticket. Odd job. I'm really out of it.
Yeah, I don't
Odd
think
jobs.
that's what the sound seatbelts make, but okay.
Odd jobs. All right?
Odd jobs.
Odd jobs is the first thing I'm going to talk about. As soon as I saw this Kickstarter page, read a little bit about it, I marked this in our big list that we keep track of all of the Kickstarter projects that launch in. And I was like, this one, I feel like I'm going to talk about it. And as I've gone back to it over the weeks, looking at it, checking back in on it and stuff like that, I was like, okay, this is a really cool project. Okay. So what it is a collection of unique worlds full of strange people and stranger careers, each with an RPG campaign you can play in a month. So this was put out by MacGuffin & Co. Great name, by the way. This is their first created project, and they have raised over $34,000 with over 600 backers. They have
Good for them.
17 days left to
Good.
go. Okay.
Mhm.
And what we're going to talk about when we discuss odd jobs is we are going to talk about the concept of micro setting RPGs. So in RPGs, you are playing what I'm currently running as a DM, which is this long, epic, year and year long fantasy campaign in which, your characters progress from lowly serfs to mighty warriors to almost godlike beings, or you run adrenaline fueled one shots where it's just kick, punch, exposition, NPC, grab the treasure, get out, boom, big explosions. Those are kind of the two entities that you have in RPGs. But Odd Job says, no. We are going to tell you, talk about micro settings, which is an RPG that is meant to be played over a month. Okay, so like a 4-session RPG. And so Odd Jobs is packed full of these incredibly zany, off the wall, off the beaten path micro setting RPGs that you play in for a month. So you get a good story, you get good character development, but you're playing in this very like niche world that they've kind of put the setting into, so that before you're kind of like running out of things to.
And he froze. And resetting. This is, you know what? I'm just going to take a shot every time this happens.
For the win. Okay.
We're back.
So let's talk about some of these micro settings. So Ghost Ship. Okay. Really cool. This is where, actually, I need to scroll back up here. You can harpoon rogue spirits in the outer limits of the solar system. Okay. Twisted Rails. Crew your trains through a surreal psychoscape. Not far to Bermuda. This is one of my favorite ones. Sail the seas for a bit longer than planned. So this is a 3-week cruise, and you are on day like 294 of this 3-week cruise, and you're just on a cruise ship, and that's what you're doing. And I love that idea of just like having to like play in this world in which this like never-ending cruise ship. Okay. Guardians, in which you are you are a nun trying to keep back the forces of hell. Okay. Atlantis City.
Better than some of the nun.
Well, that's 2 shots real fast. This is
Atlantis City, where you can run a soggy casino. Love that. Okay.
That's adorable.
Dusk Hollow PD, catch creeps and criminals and Cthulhu's. Missing in Xmas, where you have to fill in for a missing Santa Claus.
Primetime
Coliseum. Primetime Coliseum. Get famous and get beheaded. And then, of course, the wizard staff, where you have to hide a magical corpse. And then my favorite one, this is my favorite one and the one that I would play first, which is exclusive. If you do not back this campaign, you will not have access to this one. It's called Startup Culture, where you are going to make a killing on the God market. So startup culture. Love a good pun.
Oh my gosh.
That one's good.
These are so good. I love this idea of micro settings, something that's in between a one shot and a massive campaign, right? And I love that they've put so much thought into this. I want to read a few of these just real quick because we talked really briefly, but I want to read my 2 favorite ones. Guardians. Being a nun isn't easy, and you should know. You've made your share of mistakes, so many in fact that you've been sent to the remote convent in the south of France, far away from temptation. Your job originally is to guard La Fosse à l'Enfer, an apparently bottomless hole that folklore claims leads straight to hell. Watching over a big pit certainly sounds easy enough, but it's becoming rapidly apparent that nobody actually left any instruction about what to do if it suddenly wakes up. Ooh. So it sounds like such a cool idea. And then startup culture. Another hard day's grind, a quick shower, a cup of coffee, and time to check the God market. Looks like your sect's taken another dive overnight, and the high priest is not going to be happy about it. You've sacrificed a lot to Protilius, the god of reluctant teamwork, and if he loses any more followers, he won't have enough power to make it worth your while. It'll take a miracle to fix this. Love it. I'm currently watching Billions, so like the whole like tech startup kind of thing is like in stock market is like really like I'm vibing with it a little bit. But this might talk to me, guys. Doesn't this micro setting sound like such a great idea?
I like it a lot. I think it adds like just kind of a nice little difference to, you know, the general campaigns you're going to be playing. And it's always different, right? It's like sometimes you just want to have a different flavor, especially if you are playing a really, really long campaign and then something you're just consistently doing the same thing over and over. And I like this idea. I like something that it's different. You jump into it and you have the opportunity to do something really fun and really quick.
This would be something really fun. So like the numb one would be hilarious to do in October. So like you do the whole month. Then you have a Christmas one. You can do the whole month of December leading up to Christmas. Like it's just a really fun little extra. Like it's more than a one shot, but it's not the commitment of a campaign.
Exactly.
So I feel like people can commit to 4 weeks. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, do you want to play D&D and be stuck together for life? Because that's what's going to happen. Or, hey, 4 weeks, a 4-week game. You want to play that? It's a lot easier of a sell a lot of times.
Agreed.
I think it's fun. I like it.
I think it's
so. Odd jobs. I'm gonna talk about the profit here, guys. I feel that this is one because everybody knows we are book nerds up in Roll for Review. We
100%.
We are book people. We want the books. But also, doesn't this just seem like the perfect opportunity to get the PDF, because this is something that I
Yeah.
feel will work just as well as a PDF, because it's so many just like small snippets of like what this adventure is and fleshed out. I feel like having the book for this is as relevant as having the PDF, because it's something that just the DM needs to read and be familiar with and not have to spend a lot of time referencing, because it's really like, here's the system and here's
It's
the
quicker.
setting, and all you have to know is the setting. So
And
I
it's
really
not,
like
it doesn't
this.
look like it's going to be art heavy. Like there's some good art in here, but that's not going to be the main point of it. You're not getting the book for the art. So, I mean, yeah, PDF is fine.
Yeah, so if you want to pick up Odd Jobs, $21 for that PDF. But if you're like me and
Nice.
you gotta have that
Gotta
book.
have the
If you
hardcover.
just gotta have that book. You
Gotta
just
do
need
it.
you just need to stroke it. You just need to
That physical
feel
book.
that hard cover.
Nope.
$47.
Did we
$47.
mention that Joe has an OnlyFans site,
The-
by the way?
his Jonely fans.
Jonely fans.
His Jonely
by the by.
fans.
So if you want to
Yeah.
stroke his hardcover, you can head on over there.
Is that his tagline?
Wow.
That's his tagline.
This is
I
gonna,
don't-
guys. We should put a not safe for work tag on this episode.
I'm sorry.
glad
I had
Hannah
to.
said
He made
it.
fun of my curtains. You don't make fun
So-
of curtains, man.
Tit for
Joe.
tat, I guess.
What would you
Um,
roll? Odd Jobs.
Way to transition there, Alex. I'm gonna give
We'll
Odd
call it hard
Jobs.
cut.
So I'm gonna give Odd Jobs a 15, and I'm gonna give it a +2.
Oh my god.
The final score that I'm gonna give Odd Jobs is a 17.
And it was a +2 for what? Because everyone in the chat had a nice little freeze.
It's going to be a +2 for just the imagination of these zany micro settings, how crazy all of these are. It's going to get a +2 for that.
Yeah,
So I'm
they're
going to
all
give it
different
a
and they're all really
17.
good.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, Hannah, you're up.
Very cool. I am, and you're not the only one who's decided to give a shout out to the little guy. Because my next one is also just very small. It's literally Cody, and a couple of his art friends
Just Cody.
who have loved those cheesy 90s movies like as much as I have, and it's called Honey, I Shrunk the Party. And I could not be more thrilled with this little Kickstarter. It's only got 64 backers. It's at $2,000, which has met its goal, which is awesome. So this is
That's
going
great.
to happen, which is super fun. But it's got a really fun art style and a really, really unique idea. Because if you haven't guessed, by the way, you guys, did you love Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
Loved
by
Honey,
chance.
yeah.
Kids.
Oh my God, I was obsessed with it as a kid. I loved it. And then Honey, I Blew Up the Baby was the second one,
Oh
which
my
I
God.
really hope if this does well that they make that.
So this is one of the ones where like I saw the last one first. So I saw Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves before I ever saw the
Oh.
original,
Yeah,
right? So like I
Mhm.
saw it out of order, but still like love both of those. I never saw the Blew Up the Baby one.
It's
It
just
was
a giant
weird.
baby.
Just a giant baby going around doing baby stuff, but giant. And so I would love that. As Cody, if you're watching, give me what I want. I want
That
your next Kickstarter to be Honey, I Blew Up the Party, because that would be amazing. But also The Borrowers. Did you guys read The Borrowers?
Mm-mm.
Really?
Oh,
There were little
yeah,
people who lived
yep.
in the walls and like borrowed stuff. It's,
I
those are the
remember
vibes.
it, but
Yes, those are the vibes that are going in here, and they straight up say the books and the movies are what inspired this, and it's
You could tell.
just that an evil wizard has made the party super super small and is keeping them in glass jars. And the whole point of it is that you have to get out of the jars and navigate the wizard's kitchen and his pet cat Snaggles and try and get out of the wizard's house and make yourself big again. This is just a 1 through 3 level adventure. So it's like a little mini, like another little mini campaign setting, right? It's a micro setting. And I think this is an absolutely perfect way to start a campaign. How cool would it be? Like if you're introducing your party Instead of a tavern, you guys are super tiny inside jars and you have to work together to get out of this evil wizard's house. What a unique and fun way to start a campaign.
I
right?
love that. Was
I
that
think
your
that's
idea?
super fun.
That's my idea, yeah.
That's like, that is why you should back this, because that is a great way to bring a party together.
Fantastic.
Love that.
Because like, you're gonna be bonded forever after that, right?
Remember that
yeah,
time we
yes.
were all trapped in jars?
Yeah, and it's a perfect way because, you know, you want to start at level 1 for that character development, but everything kills a level 1 party. So you don't necessarily want to, you know, let them go in the world at level 1. So you level them up to level 3 through this little adventure. They have lots of stuff for being tiny. They even have items, like magical items that are like toothpicks with fruit on them. And
mystical rainbow
it's a
fruit
magical...
wand?
Yeah, and you eat a piece of fruit, you get a magical effect.
Oh
They
my
have
gosh.
some crudely drawn battle maps right now, but you've got like an overflowing sink, so it's like rapids to the players.
Tell
You've
me
got
more
salt
about these
that's put together.
maps.
These maps.
The
Well,
maps.
if they hit their stretch goal, then they're gonna make a world map, which would be the whole wizard's
Ooh.
kitchen, which would be super fun. And I think would be adorable. They have NPCs that are also trapped in jars that you can interact with. Look at this troll. I love the creativity of this. He's got a knife, like a butter knife that he sharpened, and he's wielding it like a great sword.
And he has a safety pin earring.
And he's wearing a doily. He's wearing a doily.
Oh my
with a
gosh, he
loincloth.
is wearing a doily.
How incredibly creative
Love
is
that.
this? This is just so fun. You got a barbarian in the jar, you got your fruit wand, right? So there's not an absolute ton here, which I wouldn't necessarily expect from a first time. Like, this is his first created thing. It's Cody and his friends. Like, I don't expect them to be perfect, but this idea is so incredibly unique and fun, and they're putting a lot. You can just tell like the passion that's going into this, even on the front art with the button shield and wielding a needle as
I
their
love the
sword
front
against Snaggles. I love the art in this. I love the art. I love the creativity. I cannot say good enough things about this. Well done, Cody, for such a creative, fun idea.
I know this is Cody, but also I find it funny because like his Kickstarter is like Cody, right? And we had like the guy last week, Brian, who made the dice or whatever.
Brian.
But they had
Brian.
names for their companies, and I just saw on this Kickstarter page, he's like, our studio, Lizard Wizard Studios, and I was like, you
like,
didn't
wait.
decide to like create your Kickstarter account under that. You're just like, nah, Cody,
It's a brand
we'll
new
just go with that.
Yeah, he says it's a brand new studio, so we haven't quite, branded that far yet. And you know what? Let's just stick with Cody. I like it.
Sure.
So my one not necessarily even complaint, but I would say something that I would like to see on a Kickstarter page is I would like to see a little more information about the things that you're going to give me through this. I see the battle maps, like I get an idea, like enough of an idea that I'm willing to take a chance on it for sure. But I would love to see a little bit more in the actual mechanics of it and what we're going to get in this little book. That being said, this is extremely, like, I feel like this is very reasonable because for $10 you can get this PDF download for this adventure with all the battle maps for a 1 through 3 little adventure that I guarantee your party is going to love and talk about forever. $10, definitely,
That's a deal.
definitely do that. That is a deal. For 10 or for 25, you get the printed adventure booklet. Like $25, you can have the actual booklet. And then it just goes up from there with magic item cards. You can do your own custom NPC. So if you have an idea and you want these artists to draw it at $40, you can give them that idea and they'll draw your custom NPC and you can get some item cards and things. And there's some other cool things as you continue to go up on the tiers, but $10 is well worth the gamble for this because I have a good feeling about this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I agree. So what are you giving it a roll? What roll are you
I'm
give it?
actually giving this a little lower of a roll than you might expect for how excited I am, but that is because of the Kickstarter page itself. I have to give it a roll based on the actual information that I have. And while I have some really fun art and a really fun idea, I don't have a lot of actual information. So I'm giving it a 13, but there's tons of room for improvement here. This is a fantastic idea and I love it, but the roll is a 13.
Gotcha. And that's good. And obviously first project, you learn, you live and you learn, and you grow from there. I think this is a solid start for you, Cody. And I think this is there's nowhere to go but up. So congratulations on the success. And so the next one I have for you, so a little bit of intro here. So I am a maker. I have 3D printers. I worked in a wood shop. I love making things. I've always said that if I started DMing, I would be the person that had like secret projections on my table and big maps and digital stuff that with miniatures everywhere. And I've been on a little bit of a maker kick. So you'll notice a lot of mine are 3D oriented. And this one is no exception. This is, and I started at the bottom of the table, original collection of STL tabletop decors. I think this is so cool. So there's always, when you're looking at setting up a map, and this is for the person who is kind of in the same vein as me, you're a maker, you really want to set up that environment. Now, this has a lot of really interesting things that you don't normally see that are really difficult to find online. And if you are a maker like me, you're always trying to find organic shapes, rocks, parts of the bridges, parts of the environment, grass, because you want to set the scene. You don't want to just have characters. You want to set the scene, not just buildings and characters. You want to have environmental pieces. And this is super, super cool. It's by Stratation Design. They have created 6 different projects. This one's done very, very well. They have 159 backers. Of their $594 goal, they have $5,351. So they've done very, very well. It is 130 files. That is a lot of files. So to fill you guys in, essentially what you do is you take these STL files, you drag them onto your computer, and you quite literally just hit print. And in a couple of hours, you have all of these little cool, interesting parts for your D&D table and your setting. I think if you take a look at this, all the files have been print tested as well. So a couple of difficulties involved with 3D printing that if you print them, sometimes they can fail if the supports aren't created correctly, if they're not laid out correctly, if the file has maybe some sort of issue with it, that it could actually fail and actually waste a lot of material. So if you look at all of these, there's walls, there's this amazing core set that has all these different underwater components. So you can do underwater campaigns that, Joe, I know we have stuff that's in the Wanderer's Guide that goes underwater. So things that if you want to take campaigns underwater, they have all of this kind of thing. They have gems, they have rocks, stones, pillars, dragon eggs that they've recently added. All of these really, really interesting components that you can print out. They have signs for taverns.
They have some weird ass robot guy.
They have
it's a dummy. I feel
it's a dummy. Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, it's like a. It's a dummy. Yeah.
No,
he's a dummy.
No,
okay. I scrolled down and saw him with the training stuff, and it made more sense because originally looking at it out of context, I was like, what is this weird robot
It's like a fighting dummy. And this is just the amount of detail I always just want to appreciate, because this takes quite a lot of work to sculpt these types of miniatures. And this isn't characters. This is environmental, and it creates so much depth and detail to your story. And I always want to highlight one of these every once in a while. I know we always talk about there are a lot of these types of campaigns where, here, have this file, have this miniature. But I think when you're offering 130 miniatures for guys, the core set, $20.
Nice.
$20 for the core set. That is absolutely insane. And that is all of these graphics that I'm showing right now. That is so many files for $20.
If you're
That's
an
awesome.
STL creator and you want to get on Roll for Review, you either got to do one of two things. You either have to do something really original, or you got to show us those butt cheeks.
If you go into our previous episodes, to put some context, there was a devil character. To put some context to that statement, there was a devil that somebody created
really
that if it was a spinning GIF, and he turned around and it was just the devil just had massive cake.
He did.
Just
He did not
cheeks,
skip leg day.
fully cheeked up.
He did squats.
But
Yeah.
these miniatures
Devil
are
got
absolutely
back.
beautiful. I mean, absolutely gorgeous. If you want to get the early bird 1-year merchant pack, that's only $39, and you'll be granted a year-long royalty-free license to use models for even anything for commercial use as
wow.
well. So really, really great option for those of you who are makers out there. And so I'm going to go ahead and give this a roll. And I think this is just a solid project, and I think it details everything really, really, really well. This is very specific. We should hit the mature tag. We should. I think you have to have a really specific need for this type of project, right? You have to have a 3D printer, you have to be a maker, and it has to be interesting to you. I am going to give this just a solid roll. And again, we're still adjusting kind of our rankings. 1 through 20, 20's got to be really high. We're kind of adjusting these. So I'm going to give this a solid 14. I think this is really great for what you want.
Good.
The price point is great, and there are tons of really, really awesome miniatures that you can print and add onto your campaign in person.
100%.
Great.
It's great.
So those are our first three projects. We are going to take a quick break and hear from one of our hosts.
Hello, humanoids. I'm Halfling Hannah, the creator behind Halfling Hobbies. And here at Halfling Hobbies, you are going to find DM resources and only DM resources. We are here for dungeon masters, creating all sorts of things from puzzle templates and downloadable puzzles to DM binder pages, NPCs, loot cards, everything that you could possibly need to help give your game advantage. All of it comes with a healthy serving of food and drink, along with that special halfling hospitality. So grab a mug of ale and a slice of cake, sit back, relax, and dig in to Halfling Hobbies.
All right, guys, welcome back. We're going to talk about our next three projects, and I'm really excited to talk about this next one because the creators of this are actually watching the stream right now. So,
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Yeah, and guess what? If you watch the stream, you roll a nat 20. Congratulations, guys, you win! Yeah!
I said we couldn't be bought.
No, we're going to actually review.
We're
I'm
gonna-
going to talk about a project called the Codex of Quests, right?
Oh.
And I do want to preface this, right? Because this is going to be a little like two-sided to this. Two sides. I'm going to talk about a little bit like why I chose this and then like why I think it's very, very interesting and very, very cool, right? Mm-hmm. So what this is the Codex of Quests is a 5th edition source book for GMs and players full of 50 plus quests, new classes, races, monsters, and more. Okay, so there is a lot of stuff in this, but here's the thing about this, right? We look at every Kickstarter project that launches, and we've reviewed a lot of projects that look like this, right? 50 plus quests, new races, new monsters, new this, right? Like we've seen a lot of that. Like almost every episode, at least one project is very similar to something like this. But I want to highlight, and the reason that I chose this is because this is not your ordinary big book of just stuff, right? This is not just big book of stuff to add to your other big books of other stuff, right? Here's why I think the Codex of Quests is really cool. So first of all, the Cantrip cast, first time project creators, $17,000. Good job, guys.
Good job.
Congrats,
well
guys.
done. Not easy.
And 250 backers. Okay, so they are doing very, very well for their first project. And what do they have here, right? Well, they say it right up front. 50 plus quests. That is a lot of quests. Okay. They've got races, they've got monsters, but all of this is wrapped up with a fun, upbeat attitude. All right, like I love the whimsy and like childlike nature that they have infused this with,
It's
from the
really
art,
adorable.
I love it.
from
Yeah.
the artwork to the quests. So some of these quests are you have to go into a child's nightmares and defeat the source of it, right?
That's so
Oh,
fun.
One of them
I love it.
is you just have to go get your grandma some milk. Like that is, they have written an entire
That's a
quest
quest.
about getting milk. And I like, I feel like it's such a offhanded joke that when you actually read the question, you're like, oh, I get it. Like you have to go find this like wild beast and milk it, right? Like I don't know. I'm not gonna. I'm
Nope.
aware of where. Okay. So lots of really cool stuff going on in here, but let's talk a little bit about the stuff that you can get that's like you can add to your own 5e campaign. Okay, they have a shaman, which is a full brand new caster class that they have made.
Ooh.
They have,
Love it.
if you are a monk player, they have a new monk subclass called Path of the Monkey.
The
Okay,
monkey.
they have a new race called the Stone Touched, which are
Ooh.
living statues. And then, of course, the
pretty cool.
Jellykin. The Jellykin. I really like the Jellykin. But, of course, the best one, which is a monster and a new playable race, is a Rentuki, which is a cross between a red panda and a turtle. Like it is like a tanuki suit turtle, like straight out of Super Mario World.
That's
With
pretty
nipples.
cool. With nipples.
It has
You
nipples.
gotta love that. You gotta love that.
Detail.
Well, maybe that's what you have to milk.
No.
No. No.
So
We're just gonna
anyways,
skip over the giant no-no?
Yeah, wait, no, Mrs. No-No. Can we talk about Mrs. No-No? Because that is incredible. Up, and you jinxed it. Y'all jinxed it. No, we're back. We're back.
all right,
talking about Mrs. No-No.
Oh, they're
scares
so
me.
adorable.
I don't like Mrs. No.
Is that from
Okay.
The Child's Nightmare? Because it's gonna be in my nightmare later.
But here's the thing, right? And this is something else that I really kind of appreciated. Like at first, I had to sit and think about it for a couple minutes, and I had to think about this, right? So all of this stuff, all of these new races, all of these quests, everything, right, are put into their own unique campaign setting, which is called Alteron. Okay, and this is their campaign setting. This is the world in which all of these things exist for your 5e game. But here's the thing. They didn't leave.
We're doing it again.
Are we back?
Yep, we're back.
Okay, they kind of put it in the background, right? They kind of put the campaign setting in the background and said, look, we're giving you classes and races and monsters and quests and blah, 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 blah. But there's also campaign setting if you want it. We're not going to force you, because I feel like sometimes that's something that people don't want, is they don't want to look at a book and say, oh, in order to use this stuff, I have to like do this entire homebrew campaign setting and like play in this world that I don't really like. They're like, no. Take any of the stuff that you like from this book and add it to your own. But if you like this world of like childlike fantasy whimsy, then play in it. And here's what I really like.
It's cool.
We've talked about it before, how there are some projects that try to gear themselves towards like, oh, this is something you can play with your kids, right? Because D&D 5e is pretty complex for like a child to play. There's a lot of like mechanical stuff that you have to understand. But here's what I really like. Is like old enough, like 6, 7, 8 years old, and has the maturity to actually play 5e. This would be a wonderful campaign setting to play. This would be a fantastic campaign, first campaign for families that play D&D together, or like I'm a dungeon master and maybe my daughter and her friends in 3rd grade all want to play together D&D. This is a campaign setting that I could run for them and not feel like I had to like put brakes on it or really be careful about the content. I feel like I could just have this entire source book. So I like the fact that they were like, hey, there is a campaign setting, but we're not tying your hands to it. But also like the idea, and I don't know that they really hit this hard in the campaign page, but what they did, what I looked at and said, this is a great campaign setting to play with children. And so for that, I'm really, really liking what these guys have put together and the way that they've approached it, which I think is very unique. Value, I'm just going to give you the value. They've got lots of campaign tiers and everything like that. Get the book. You're going to want this artwork. You're going to want the book.
Yeah.
$55. Good cost for the book.
Yeah.
That is $1.10 a quest. So you do the math there, right? Break it down. That is why we're here. We're here to break it down for the people on the street.
Break it down.
So I'm gonna roll. I'm gonna give this a roll, right?
Yeah. What's your
solid?
roll?
Yeah, roll.
Solid project. Okay.
For sure.
Well, hold on, real quick before I roll. You guys have anything you want to add, real quick?
No, I really like this, and it reminds me of the board game that I really like. That's kind of right on the border of RPG and tabletop game. And Joe, you'll know this game. Hannah, I'm not sure if you will. Stuffed Fables. Yeah. It really reminds me of that. And what Stuffed Fables is it's like a story of these little stuffed animals that are helping a girl, like it's her first night in her big girl bed, and they're like protecting her. And I loved that story. And it's just it's so lighthearted, but I feel like there's such an opportunity to have a lot of fun with it. And I do want to point out something that they said in the chat. It's got a good mix of everything. And they're actually a counselor for children and use it as a D&D and use D&D in therapy sessions. So that's really awesome. That is wow. Thank you for typing that out, because that is super cool.
I'm a teacher, and there's nothing that touches my heart more than that. That's amazing. Thank you so much. That's really great.
Awesome. But I think this is super fun.
Yeah, I can't get over the art style. I want like tokens or paper minis, or like the little in games sometimes where you just have the little like cardboard thing that has the art on it that goes in the little tab.
Yeah.
I think I would love the artwork on something like this, because there's no way I'm going to find a Mrs. No, anywhere. So that would be super cool too if they at some point could do that. Also, I don't know why there's not a shaman class.
No, I love that introduction.
Now there is.
There should have been all along. Well done on that one. It should have been there.
And okay, so what am I going to give this? This is a solid project. So so let me get through this. This, with just the campaign page, just looking at this, my gut reaction says it's a 14. But it gets a +1 for the art. It gets a +1 for the childlike, whimsical nature of it. And it gets a +1 for the Rentuki. So I'm gonna give it a 17. High score, high marks, right? And the base is a little low, but this has so many modifiers going for it, right? The base might not be like the best roll, because the campaign settings, like, oh, what is, like, there's a little bit of like make a decision, go one way or the other, but I think it's fine. But they have so much other stuff that it's like, oh, but what about this? But what about this? And what about that Rentuki? 17 is the roll that this one ends up with.
Yeah.
Nice job.
Deserved. Well done.
Definitely go check that out.
Yes, I hope it goes well for you. Definitely hope that goes well. Okay, mine's up next. And Joe, you and I are just like on the same wavelength, because I'm going a little more child whimsical as well, with perhaps my favorite project of the night and my favorite project in a while. I'm really excited about this, and I'm gonna have to hold it in and not scream during this, because this one is called Unfamiliar. Release the Tiny Beasts. Oh my God. And what this is, guys, what this is a new wizard spell, has made it to where the wizard's familiar can be released, kind of like in Aladdin when he wishes the genie free. The familiar can be released, and they gain the ability to speak, and then they can go on adventures of their own.
There is an armored ferret on the cover of this book.
They're so cute.
Look at the bunny's determined little face. on the front of this. Look at those eyes. He's gonna go on an adventure and he's gonna do a great job. And I'm so excited.
Oh, I love the bat.
Dude, okay.
There's
So
a
what
cat
happens-
smoking a pipe. There's a cat. This only gets better.
Now
Look
you
at all these
understand
little
why I'm
guys.
so excited. There's a little tarantula that's picking a lock. Like, and they're not normally cute. I hate spiders, you know that, but oh my god, it's really
Oh
fun.
my
There's
gosh.
a bard frog who's just like strumming a guitar, like croaking away, right?
Why
It-
are there so many songs about rainbows?
Oh my god. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Okay, I have to tell you what this actually is because
Yes.
not only are these, real little people animals now, this entire book is how to use them as a race so that you can make this your player character. You can be a past familiar in your next D&D campaign. Could you imagine like being the bunny that's like friended with the ranger or whatever, and then you start talking and you totally take everybody by surprise? Like, okay, so what it is, how this works is that there's actually classes based on the familiar that you were in the past. So they have a whole bunch of classes based on what you might have been used for as your wizard's familiar, and also based on your spirit type. So Fey, Fiend, or Celestial. Those give you character attributes as well. And they have feats. They made feats for these guys. So there's different feats that you can take to make up.
I
for
can
the
see
fact
the
that
spider
you're
actually has
bunny.
8 of them.
I was waiting. You beat me by a second.
Yeah, there you go. 8 legs, 8 feet. Amazing. 8 feet. But
Hannah's not impressed.
no, I'm just so excited about this. I'm sorry. Okay, so but not that feat, but the other feat. Anyway, so you get different things based on what you did in the past, and it's just basically like new races, and they do all 16 types
Wow.
of wizard familiars. All 16 of them are in here, so you can be a ferret or a bunny or a frog or a bat or an owl, and you can talk and wear tiny little clothes.
Love
And
it.
just it's
Super
been a while
adorable.
since I've been this excited about something. I'm incredibly excited.
So, okay. I am still okay. So this is not like an animal world. This is like a regular campaign setting, but
Yep.
you're just playing a talking animal. I don't even know how to say the word.
An
But,
animal.
yeah. Well, no, I know how to say animal.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's not anamorphic, right? Like it's not like where it's
No.
like an animal that's like it's like no, you're an animal, but you can just
spirit
talk
in
and
an
have
animal's body.
It's kind of like in his Dark Materials, like the demons. Have you ever seen that?
no.
Okay, it's the Golden Compass. Each person's like
Oh.
spirit or soul
Oh, the
is
polar
like an
bear.
animal.
Mhm. Yeah, it's like that.
Okay.
Yeah, very similar. So you can talk. You wear clothes. You have classes. You have abilities. You have feats. Like it's like a new playable race for D&D, except that it has all of the flavors of the familiar, and your whole backstory is really determined based on where your spirit came from and what wizard you were bonded to in your, familiar life.
You know what I would love if there was a
Mhm.
way to have this potentially be like a one-shot formed around this, where you were like fighting a witch or some sort of like sorcerer or warlock that turns you into these characters somehow.
Oh, that could be fun
And
too.
then like
yeah, if you
one
really wanna
story
do
you
the
are now
whole-
having to deal with the
Uh-huh.
fact that you are animals and
Oh,
your
that's a
character has
fun way to do
changed
it.
into these animals and you need to like find a way to be human again.
That's a really fun way to do that. Really. And you could even, there's 16 of them. You could find a way to make it random and
Yeah.
like put it on a random thing or whatever and be like, okay, you get turned into a.
So it'd be like, as a DM, be like,
Turtle.
roll a d20 for me. And whatever that
Uh-huh.
lands on is what animal you turn into.
Yeah. No, that's a great idea if you don't want to commit to being one for the entire campaign like I do.
Yeah.
You can do it as
Multi-use.
Yeah, multi-use. I love it. I love it. I love the art with it. I love pretty much everything about this. They give you some pages, the layout pages, so you can see exactly what those class features are going to look like. What, you know, the sage looks like, what some of those feats look like. Oh, like the little buddy going through a portal.
Oh my gosh.
Gosh. Oh, it's so good. It's so good, guys.
How much does
I'm
it
really
cost, Hannah?
excited. It costs just $12.
$12.
$12 for a full PDF of the book. $12. You want a soft cover? $22. You want a hardcover, Joe? Because I know you like the hardcovers. Then it's $29.
Okay, really quick.
How awesome.
I
Yeah.
want to mention that because you'll notice that jump there. And this is something that was in one of our previous videos that someone did comment on, that we noticed a very large jump between a soft cover and a large cover book. And it was like a $40 jump or something like that, if I remember correctly.
Crazy.
Now this, between a 22 to a 29, that is a great,
No-brainer.
That's a no-brainer to jump up.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's $7, that to me is, if I'm looking at a value, I want to spend the extra for the hardcover. Psychologically, I'm looking at those numbers and I'm gonna go, I'm just gonna jump up to $29 and get the hardcover. If I'm gonna get the physical book, I'm just gonna jump up. And that's smart. That is a very smart thing to do in terms of your pricing structure, is to make there's psychological aspects of setting up your actual pricings for your Kickstarters. And it does have an effect on what people back. And if you want people to really lean towards one, you make it's one of those things where you go, well, I might as well jump to this one because I get all of this stuff extra, or it's this much money.
And did you see the backers on here? There's 54 at the soft cover. There's 115 at the hardcover.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And another cool thing, I love these little features. You can get Fantasy Ground character tokens along with that.
Ooh.
So you can have these in your online game in Fantasy Grounds. You can have it in there,
Cool.
which I think
Very
is just
cool.
another great little thing. So yeah, it's overall a solid campaign, solid pricing structure, really, really fun. Not everybody's cup of tea. I'm totally into it because I'm a druid at heart and I absolutely love this. So I'm gonna give this one a 14. This is super solid. And then can I give this a +1 for adorableness? Is that a modifier now?
A +1 for adorability.
Adorability, because the buddy's face.
A +1 for adorability.
I'm so in
Absolutely.
love with this. Yeah, I love it so much.
Love it. Well,
Yep.
I am back on.
It's doing well, by the way. I forgot to say that's at $15,000.
Yeah, it's doing very well. Good
I got
job
too
to
excited.
good job to Jerry
It's
Joe Seltzer.
Jerry, I think.
Which a great.
Just
Can I
Jerry.
talk about how Jerry Joe Seltzer? Great name.
Yeah, should be
Jerry
a
Joe
drinker.
Seltzer. He sounds like he's a guy on the side who's just like, have my tonic. Jerry Joe Seltzer's tonic. I love it. Well,
Okay.
I realized again I'm going into the realm of miniatures and 3D products. But this one's a little bit different, and I wanted to actually talk about this because I think it's a really interesting approach, and they actually have kind of made some adjustments while they've been putting out this project. This project is called Lasting Tales, a fantasy miniature game. And as we speak, it is now at $864,000.
Woo.
It is doing really, really well with 7,000, almost 8,000 backers. It has 6 days to go. So if you are looking for something like this, definitely check it out. But it's by Blacklist Games. They have 9 created previous campaigns, and this is doing really, really well. But what is this? It is a cooperative tabletop miniature game by Mark Latham. And Mark Latham is, he actually worked on Walking Dead, All Out War, The Elder Scrolls Call to Arms, and he's got a really great repertoire behind him. But this is, it's kind of right on the border between tabletop game and RPG, right? It's right on that border like I talked about, and they are frozen, and we're going to go ahead and refresh, but luckily I'm still talking about this, and we are back. So Lasting Tales, it's an accompanying story to a ton of miniatures. Not just I don't just say a ton lightly. Over 200 miniatures are accompanying this story.
Gosh.
But let's take a look at this, shall we? The world of Aetha was free of evil throughout its history. Certainly there has been conflict, misery, and suffering since the beginning of time, but evil itself would not come into being until the age of unthroning over 300 years ago. It is now the dawn of a new age, and the lands of Aetha are held under sway by the new struggle between good and evil, light and shadow. The call to adventure is ringing out louder than ever, and those brave enough to stand against the legions of shadow will be the heroes of lasting tales for ages to come. So you have this really, really interesting story that is a cooperative miniature game for 1 to 5 players, and it's inspired by pen and paper role-playing games and tabletop skirmish games. So it's that sort of combination. We have to keep refreshing here, y'all. I mentioned earlier that every time it does that, I should take a shot, but I think at this point I would be passed out.
What a terrible idea.
Right?
Oh.
It requires a handful of standard 6-sided die and a tape measure or ruler and miniatures. So it's a very unique version. It's not directly tied into role-playing games, but I wanted to bring this up because the miniatures are really the highlight of this. And what they've kind of decided to do is you can essentially, you get this book, but you can really just buy the miniatures if you want. And I think that was super smart. And here's the thing, you can get 200 miniatures for $75.
No.
$75.
No.
Alex,
Absolutely
can I say something about this real quick?
Yes.
So I wanted to just kind of like weigh in on this project. I talked to Alex a little bit about this before the stream, but what essentially they've done is Blacklist Games, by the way, is known for being like a company kind of like Reaper Miniatures, where they'll just make like, hey, a big box of miniatures, right, for like really cheap, right? It's not like the best sculpts that you're ever going to get, but they're pretty good, right? They're pretty good stuff. But it's like cheap, right? It's like miniatures in bulk.
Low cost.
And so they're like, hey, we made this Lasting Tales game, guys. It's this like fantasy skirmish tabletop war game kind of thing. But they're like, but we know like a lot of you probably just want the miniatures. So here you go. And right now they have what is it, like 8,000 backers? More than half of those backers don't even want the game. They're like, I don't care about the game. They're like, please just give me the miniatures.
Yep.
And I think that they know what they're doing, right? They know that they're like, hey, these are miniatures that we're kind of making for RPGs, but we've also designed this game to go around with it if you also would like to play this game. But like, you can tell that like most of the people that, or at least more than half of the people backing this are like, I just want these for RPG games. So that's why we wanted to highlight it, because it's like, it's such a deal.
It's such a deal.
If you want miniatures for your game, this is a lot of them.
People are always looking for cheap miniatures. Where do you get cheap miniatures? Here it is.
And they have,
it doesn't get cheaper than that.
They have unlocked such the first
I just
stretch
going
goal.
on the stretch goals.
The very first stretch goal is a 3-inch base Hydra. That's
awesome.
this big.
Yeah,
that's
great.
That is going to be that big. That is huge.
I was looking at the stretch goals and I had my own thought where it's like female half-elf fighter, boy villager, male half-orc rogue, female elf bard, girl villager, male gnome paladin, manticore. What gender is the manticore?
When you
like,
say it in that format,
I find it very like strange. They're like, just give them all a gender. Why not?
Don't
like,
have to. Just say human fighter. That's fine. But
I just love that they were and then they're like cook, like the cook, like
or the blacksmith. There's another one that's blacksmith, just blacksmith, and it looks like a dwarf, so it literally could be either one because they both have beards.
That's the only thing that made me laugh is they gendered everything, and then like there's just random ones that they're like, we're not giving this one a gender.
But there's also something that I want to take a look at here. But they've partnered with Blacksite Studios, and they have a Lasting Tales terrain line, so you can actually get like pop-up terrain, which is super interesting as an add-on. So it's essentially they've like partnered with this to add it to the story, and I can tell they're really wanting to hype up this story. But now I feel like now I'm just wanting to go, okay, cool, I have terrains to go with my miniatures. You know what I mean?
I want them to just be like 5 Falcon miniatures, 2 female, 3 male.
Joe's still on this.
He's not going off that.
I just find it so funny. Like.
But that being said, there is a free PDF version of Lasting Tales. So you can get a free PDF version of it.
You can get the story for free.
For free.
Wow.
Right here, you can download it for free. But that being said, I think this is a solid deal. I think it was smart of them to just say, here's the story if you want it. Have these miniatures for a low cost point. I think it's a great deal. If you're not a maker like me who's going for the STLs, I wanted to offer one that is, here's a low cost deal for you then.
These come unpainted, right?
Yes, unpainted.
Yeah.
That is a lot of painting.
It's a lot of painting, but
I mean, I'd be down for
a great
it.
activity.
Yeah, that's
so
awesome.
What am I going to give this? I'm going to give this a solid 15 with a +1 for quantity and price.
Oh yeah.
I think that is insane price point for that much. That being said, that is our second set of 3 projects, and we're going to take another quick break to hear about something that is near and dear to our hearts. Be back soon.
The Wanderer's Guide is a 50-page compendium designed to enhance your fantasy RPG campaigns. Immersive, beautiful maps and artwork by Andrew Bosley. Dry erase pages for quick editing and changes as your campaign evolves. An abundance of tokens to add more character, landmarks, features, and customization to your campaign. An interactive NPC system for adding lots of variety and plot hooks for the Game Master to engage the players. Artwork featuring fun details and story elements to enhance collaborative storytelling, world building, and spark the imagination of the players and the Game Master. The Wanderer's Guide. Your world, your adventure.
And we're back.
Hey everybody,
guys.
welcome back to Roll for Review. We're going to talk about our last 3 projects of the night and then get into our fun finds and then our super special announcement at the end. So stay tuned. All right, so I'm going to talk about my last project.
And it froze right as I... Oh my gosh.
He hit his mic.
And
He
it
hit his mic
froze.
so
And it
hard that it
froze.
broke Google.
It broke Google. All right, Joe, you're up. Go.
Okay.
Tavern Tales, a 5e D&D supplement book. A circus-themed tavern packed with adventures, NPCs, items, and more to be placed into your new or existing D&D 5e campaign. Currently being run right now by Escape Plan Games. Again, first created, so congratulations to them.
Congrats.
239 backers and over $14,000 raised. So
Good for
good
them.
job, Escape
Done.
Plan Games. Now, this one just launched too, like a day ago, right?
That's awesome.
So I want to talk a little bit about this because again, right, like this week, maybe there aren't like the crazy weird, projects like this is like, yes, I'm going to talk about why this project is cool, but this is another one where it's like more stuff, right? More stuff for your campaign. And, a couple weeks ago, we reviewed a project called Seeker's Guide to Twisted Taverns, which had like 15 taverns in it. And we've seen other types of like tavern, like Kickstarters and stuff like that. So why another one? Why are we doing this again? Right. And I just think that they've put a lot of effort and a lot of thought and creativity into what they wanted to offer. And this is a bit deeper than just the tavern, right? This is a bit deeper. So first of all, it's a really cool theme, right? This is a 200-page book for what's called a trip away in, which is a circus themed tavern that they've created. So there's like this cool circus thematic thing that they've put into it, where they have written 12 adventures, 15 NPCs into these adventures, maps. They have maps for all of the surrounding areas and going about town and stuff like that. Here's something that's really cool. I like this. 12 different traveling merchants that you can set up outside of the tavern that are passing through town. I like that.
I like that.
That's really cool.
Useful.
That is a great thing. I actually ripped off an idea from a podcast that I listened to, but one of the best moments I've had as the DM is Alex's character was talking to a traveling merchant that was like selling all fake magical items, like, and not like
Classic.
Oh, he sold it to them and it didn't end up working. It was like obviously fake stuff that like you could not prove if it worked or not, and like Alex's character got really upset about the entire situation. But
I made him pee his
it
pants.
has it has items, and I think he rolled like a nat 20 on intimidation or something,
And I had like
that.
a plus 8.
Whoa.
Items, monsters, special events, all kinds of really cool stuff that you've got in this book. But some of the stuff that I think is really cool, right? They have all of these different adventures that they've written specifically for this tavern, right? So they have this like group of kobolds that live underneath the city and do all of this type of like tunneling and mining for the city, but they want to have like the tavern of their own. So they're asking for help for people to help them secure a place in town to start up their own tavern, right? You've got this poison alchemist, this woman that makes like really strong potent poisons, who asks you to break into her laboratory to retrieve a special to retrieve a special artifact, and then you start realizing and uncovering mysteries about this character as you kind of go through it. I really like that. There's another one called a man who claims he's being magically aged, and you have to go to this tower, and like there's all of this like time play stuff. So they're getting real creative with like the adventures that they've written for this, but I like how much content they're trying to pack into this, and I like the idea that they didn't just say, oh, this is a tavern. I like the circus theming. There isn't a ton in the page about what that actually means, like why is it circus themed, right? Like there is the tavern keeper that is like a retired circus performer or something like that, but like I like that they've put like thought and creativity into this. For as far as like maybe minor things, right? It is one tavern, and we've seen so many products that's like the same thing, but it's a lot of taverns. But these guys, I think they're trying to take a tavern and expand it really, really, really far.
I think that's smart.
And it is smart. 200 pages for one tavern is a lot of content to write about one place.
Yeah,
but I think when you go to places like this, you ask the question, why is it circus themed, right? I think that goes into the detail of the story. I think when you're trying to highlight a specific area like that, you want to go into it. You want to meet the people. You want to meet figure out how it came to be. And I think you always kind of focus a story around this, maybe the entire world. And I think having it maybe on a smaller scheme of things and focused around this one area is a super interesting opportunity that you don't really see, right? And I think that's super fun.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, right? Like right now I'm running like a multi-year long campaign with the players that I'm that I'm having, and we're growing from like literally level 1 up, and I don't know when we're going to end. We might get all the way to level 20, who knows. But like I am building a really big story, and they are traveling the world, and there are all kinds of things at play. This is created for a different type of campaign. This is created for like the hometown hero campaign, right? Where you're a group of like, rough and tumble adventurers who set up shop in this town, and there's a lot going on that needs to be done here. So this is like you can basically spend a year in this tavern. And I was reading a little bit about their story, how the DM basically was never able to like prep for his campaign, and he wanted to write an epic story, but he was having a lot of difficulty trying to do that. So he was just like stealing content from other places and just shoehorning it into his campaign, and he felt bad about it. And then he basically came up with this concept of like traveling taverns, where it's like, hey, this is a tavern, and the entire adventure revolves around this community at which the tavern is the focal point. And I like that. I like that hometown hero campaign setting. I think that that's really cool.
I like
It's
that.
smaller in scope. It's like you can run a year-long campaign or a 2-year-long campaign and kind of be done with it. But this is like a nice like element, especially if you're somebody who's like low prep, right? If you're like, hey, I work a busy schedule, but I'm the DM and I need to get something out on my table, this is a good campaign source for you to use. And look, you don't have to go to new parts of the world. You don't have to describe new parts of the world. You just have to have interesting things keep happening in this central location which your party is located. So I like this idea. It's like homebrew adjacent, right? It's like somebody has kind of like homebrewed this much smaller setting for you to play in. So instead of thinking as like this massive campaign setting, think of it as an itty bitty little campaign setting. And if that's something that appeals to you,
But a
I
really
think that
detailed
this
one.
project might be good for you. What do you guys think? I mean, is this something that like excites you in any way?
And some people might think, I should preface, some people might think because the scope isn't global that it's not as exciting, that there's not as much at stake. And I would disagree with that because
Yeah.
I feel like a setting like this, you can really honestly care about the NPCs in a way that you do not get on a global setting. So they hint that there's a tragic backstory to that poisoner that you get to uncover throughout this. And so it's a more intimate setting, and if you haven't tried something like that, I definitely recommend that you do so, because it's a different experience than the globe-trotting set. And I very much enjoy it. It's really good.
In this campaign, all the player characters can get married and have babies, and then
keep it
like
going.
just meet up for adventures once a week. Like
well,
it's like a
or
social
help
club.
PTA meetings and
So the
soccer
creators
practice.
are actually in the chat, and so congratulations! It launched today, by the way. Congratulations, you guys! This is
12
absolutely
hours.
awesome. And
Amazing.
something it's mechanically all essentially what they're saying in the chat is all the roads lead there. So it's kind of like the center of this story. So that's really, really super interesting. And, you know, probably not a bot 42 says you don't need to know 1,000 pages of lore to just drop it into your game. And it just drops right in, and it provides all these really, really interesting backstories. I almost imagine it like you could drop it into your game, and it's like the mist appears, and the tavern, you hear like this kind of circus music,
style.
and all of a sudden it's like Brigadoon, where it rises out of the mist.
Yeah. What about retirement? So what if your players get to level 10 and they're looking for like a small town to retire to?
Ooh.
And this is where they end up. And so they're like becoming a part of the community and stuff, and they're still having these adventures and getting to know these people and solving these problems.
I like the idea of like a group of adventurers that like go on adventures as part of like a weekly social club, right? Like an Elks Lodge type of like concept, as opposed to like we're adventurers and we're trying to save the world. They're like, no, let's get together once a week and just see what happens, and just like they all like, and of course like they have like people that come and have requests and stuff like that. So it's just like they meet up at the lodge, and then people just come to the lodge and like, hey, we know that they're going to be there on Tuesday, so we can go there. So you just take the NPC there and like, hey, here's the quest for this week, right? I like that concept. Like I like how surreal.
You could even have like you could make it like your D&D night, right? Like a week passes in game, and you had like you're responsible for explaining what you did for the week, and your players come in and be like, "How was your week?"
And
oh, I love it.
Probably not a bot 42 says for the retirement idea. That's the retirement storyline should be a stretch goal for 401k. That was good.
I like it.
it.
That's good. That's better.
The hearts. What would you give this as a roll, Joe?
Well, no, let's talk about the value.
Oh yeah,
let's
the value.
We
gotta talk about how much it costs.
The value.
Yeah, we didn't even care. We're like, just take my money. This is great.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, this is another situation where it's like, what's best for you? You want the PDF? $20, $20 bill.
Great
That's,
job.
You know,
Super
Book?
affordable.
You want that book? You want to feel that luxurious cover,
No.
right?
Why the face?
45 bucks. 45
$45
bucks.
That's still good.
That's a solid
really good price.
value.
Yeah.
Yep.
So can't go wrong with it. 16. Good job, guys. I like how much
Heck.
I like
see that?
how I did. I like how much you guys have put into this campaign. I like how much you've really fleshed this concept out. You know, we've seen projects. I just backed a project with like 14 crazy taverns. This a little bit like I was a little bit like, am I going to review this right? This is just one tavern. But as I went through the Kickstarter page, as I reviewed it, I was like, this is really fleshed out. This looks really cool. I like this a lot. I'm going to give you guys a 16. Good job. Keep going. This is amazing stuff.
Nice
Good.
job, guys.
Love it. That's awesome. Good stuff. Okay, so I have to ask, because I don't know if I've ever asked this question of you two. Do you guys watch anime?
Yes.
Good. Joe?
Like
Baka.
Pokemon?
No. I mean, no.
Nani?
That's like Nani? No, I'm talking like Naruto.
Yes.
No.
Naruto!
Yes.
I have I'll let you two geek out about this because I have never watched an anime, so I will sit back and be taught.
Okay. So anime is specifically a Japanese.
Oh wait,
art style.
I've watched Ghibli films. Does that count?
Yeah.
It's
Sure.
more
Is that
TV.
anime?
It's more like the
Manga.
TV shows accompanying the manga or things like that.
You know what manga is? It's like a graphic novel.
That's like comic book. That's like Japanese comic books, right?
graphic novel.
Yeah, graphic novels. Yeah.
They're super. They're this big, dude. It's not a comic book.
Graphic novels. Sorry, graphic novels.
You'll like the art in this. It's phenomenal art. So basically, if you like anime, so it's like taking the two biggest nerd things you can do, right? Dungeons and Dragons, anime, and then you smush them together to make the ultimate nerd pastime,
gosh.
which is anime 5e. So
Keep talking about this. Just keep going.
Okay, so this is insanely huge, guys. This has raised $400,000 and has over 5,000 backers. Nerds want this. We've wanted it for a while. So what this is, I'm talking to the non-anime person now because he had to leave. So if you have ever wanted to run your own Naruto D&D campaign setting where you're going through ninja school, or if you are super into Demon Slayer and you want to do a D&D campaign setting like Demon Slayer, which would be freaking awesome, or Attack on Titans, any of those like epic stories, but D&D just doesn't seem to fit with them, that is what Anime 5e is for. What they have done is they have made classes, races, feats, and abilities, all of this stuff for specifically anime tropes and stereotypes. So you can literally run a game of Attack on Titans. You can run a game of Demon Slayer. And you can have different classes that go with it. So if you want to be a ninja, you can be a ninja, which is different than a monk, right? Because you got magic-y kind of things that you can do with that. You have adorable races, new races. So there's a little satyr that I think is absolutely adorable. You got little blobs, not sure what those are. You've got all kinds of new monsters. The goblins are adorable. I like the goblins too. So I do like the anime art style. It's very nice.
I love it.
And it's beautiful art. Lots of these classes. They have a huge bullet list, which I don't know if that's the way that I would present this information, but you know, they're the ones with $400,000
Yes.
and I don't. So, you know, whatever. But it's character features that let you have specific elements that you're looking for from anime, 14 new races that cover a range of anime archetypes. You've got guidelines and rules for playing characters other than medium size, which is actually really nice and kind of needed. So large size, small size, they should have different things for them. That's what you get in this, which I very much enjoy. 14 new classes that offer abilities and talents.
Wow.
So they rebalanced 5e for the classes for anime, because anime is known for being overpowered, right? That's kind of what it's about.
Goku.
So we're gonna go fight a god. Now we're gonna fight the god of gods, because that's just how it works, right?
Yup.
Yep. So you've got 36 character flaws. This one I think is really interesting. 36 character flaws that return points to your character so they can power up in different ways to compensate for those flaws.
Oh.
Which I found really interesting, and I would love to know how that works.
Yeah.
70 character features with multiple ranks. You've got 50 skill proficiencies, specifically for those non-combat scenarios, talents, and trades, which is sorely lacking, I feel like, in 5e. So that's a really cool thing. Treasures and enhancement options. You have all sorts of stuff. Adventuring gear, rebuilds of the standard fantasy monsters to be more anime monsters. A ton of stuff. This is another core rulebook. That's how you need to view this. This is definitely core rulebook status. This is a totally different game.
Wow.
It says it's 5e, and I'm guessing all of the roles and things and character sheets are kind of the same. There's interesting, if you go down, there's a character folio. So instead of just a character sheet, it's like a whole little journal that you can make for your character to essentially make a book about them, which is interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, this is a ton. This is a ton of stuff. And if you want to run an anime style adventure, which is different than a fantasy style, now you can have fantasy anime, but they're still different, right?
Yes.
They're very different. Then this is what you need. This is what you have been looking for.
It's like
your
SAO.
whole life, you beautiful nerd.
It's SAO.
Yes, Sword Art. You could do Sword Art Online.
Yep.
Oh my god.
And I left
God.
because I'm looking for my SAO swords, and I don't know where I put them. My Kirito swords.
Oh, that's my favorite, and I cannot believe I did not think of that.
This
And
is
now
SAO.
I'm looking for the picture of the goblins. That's what I've been doing this whole time.
The picture
very
of the
top.
goblin.
It's at the top.
Yeah, it's at the top. Well, she's got a little bow and aqua hair. And she's-
Oh,
right there.
okay.
Super
adorable?
cute.
yeah, super cute.
No, this is so cool. I would run an SAO themed.
Oh heck yes,
themed.
please.
Oh my god.
That or Naruto. That would be my top two. I want to go through ninja school. I want
You
to.
have
I'm gonna
not
be a
answered
shinobi.
the
Five
most
Nations.
important question, though.
What's that?
Kagebunshi no Jutsu.
Is Pikachu in this?
No. I mean, you can make him maybe. Maybe he's one of the monsters they
He's
reskinned.
gonna
I
be
don't
my
know.
familiar.
No, I know. I know nothing about anime. I'm a total anime
Anime-
You're not a weeb.
You're an anime-
You're not a weeb.
Yeah, I guess. I don't even know
No,
like the
if
words
there are
that
any
you guys
anime
are saying.
nerds in the chat, tell Joe what he's missing, because
Well, the
I've had
creators
people
have
try to get-
I'm excited
actually
about this.
the creators have just joined the chat. And
Hi, guys.
hello. Congrats
Awesome
on such an
job.
amazing project. Love it, love it,
Oh
love
my
it.
gosh. We love it so much. We were just talking about the possibilities of living and playing in our favorite anime worlds, and I'm so incredibly excited about that.
Yes.
There was recently I watched all of it and then there weren't any more and I was mad. It was a Dungeons and Dragons anime essentially with the slime. So the
Oh my
guy got
gosh.
reincarnated as a slime and then took over a world because why not? And it was freaking hilarious. Greg will, in 30 seconds, Greg will probably yell at me what it is. But it was great. You can run that in this and it would be super fun.
So they said in the comments that it has neomorphs, small pet monsters including cabbits and wolverpotamus.
There you go.
So there
It
you
has
go.
Well, here's the
Pokemon.
thing.
Pokemon
For
are
this
there.
That's
giant book
I
of
prefer Digimon,
content,
but
how much do you have to pay to get this giant book of content with all of this amazing
Excellent
artwork?
question. What a great question for you.
I have
So
to keep it
if
on track because you guys are just going to geek out for like the next
Yeah,
one.
we would. Yeah, that's
I
true.
know. We're so excited about this. So you have two options, which is really, really cool. Thank you guys for doing this option because I think it's really neat. You can get a miniature version called the Pocket version, which is all of the core rules, everything that you need to run. It's just art. It's not as much art, and it's missing one of the chapters that isn't as necessary.
That
And
was
which
very
one was
smart.
that? It was very smart.
Is that
Very
the player
smart.
version?
No, it's the core rules. It's the pocket edition of the core rules. You can get a PDF copy of that pocket edition for $13.
Wow.
How insane is that? $13. And then if you want the physical copy of that pocket version, then that's $25.
Got it. That's a great deal
Yeah.
for all
But
of this
then
type.
if you want the full one with all the artwork and all of that stuff, then you're gonna have to jump up to the $50 level. So
That's
I
still a
think it
deal.
is such a good idea to have the pocket version and then to have the full version with all the artwork and all of that stuff.
I mean, this is the same price as this is the exact same price as like what all of the other hardcover books. Like this is no more expensive, but I feel like there's more content
Yeah, there's
here
more.
than any of the other projects that we've talked about so far.
There is an incredible amount of content. Like they've already have they hit all of their stretch goals?
I believe
There's
so.
so much in their stretch goals too, guys. Like, well done on your stretch goals. Because some of the other ones we reviewed, they're like, eh. These stretch goals are amazing. They have creature stats. They have magical artifacts, traps, mechas. You can do. Oh my gosh.
They just unlocked 400k.
Yes, that's what I said.
Yeah, they
the
just
beginning of
unlocked 400k, and they actually just uploaded 425k.
Woo!
So let's take a look at that.
Yes, please. What is that?
What do they got here? 5 original poisons.
Ooh,
Backers pledging
very
$13
cool.
will receive a free PDF copy of Anime 5e stat write-ups for 5 original poisons across the potency spectrum.
Thank you. And thank you for giving those stretch goals to the lowest level. Seriously.
That's
like,
awesome.
That's really cool of you.
All right, Hannah,
Yes.
roll it.
Okay. This is getting my highest roll of the night.
Ooh.
I am impressed. I am so impressed, incredibly excited. It is both of my nerd worlds finally coming together in one beautiful marriage, and I cannot thank you enough for that. So the base roll is going to be a 15. Then you're going to get a +1 for incredible artwork and another +1 for the thought and the detail that has gone into this. Like, you can tell that you guys love D&D and you love anime. And this is just heartwarming for a nerd. Thank you so
Absolutely
very
love
much.
it.
17 total.
Congratulations, you guys. That is
So good. Congratulations. 8 days to go, guys. If you haven't backed this and you want to run your own Sword Art Online game,
Or not.
get there.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. You are so welcome. And congrats again, Dice Kami. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly in the comments. Here's the link. I'm gonna go ahead and post the link like the rest of these in the chat, so please definitely check that out.
Yep.
So for those of you who are new here, I am the resident dice goblin. I love dice. Who's surprised? I love 3D stuff and miniatures and all that kind of stuff, and I love collecting dice. I love dice, and I love really neatly designed dice. And ones I'm going to highlight today are Rolling Maze, a metal dice set for RPGs that are they're designed to look like miniature mazes. And these are so cool. And I gotta say, the page is designed so cool with tons of moving GIFs. And with dice, you don't really have to do that. But I think it's so fun and so interesting. I think the detail on these is so cool. They're really, really interesting. They have so many different options. And immediately, I just want to buy them with all the different lights that are going over them. I think this is just a really interestingly designed page for some dice. I think this is just a lot of fun. And they show how they're making them. They're showing these really interesting techniques.
I'm starting a new thing for Alex's dice thing, where before he gives it a score, because all of these dice campaigns have like the 7 versions of like the dice, right? Like we've looked at so many dice pages now. When Alex reviews a dice page, we all need to look at the designs while he's talking and pick our favorite one, and then we'll all reveal it right before he gives the score.
Ooh, okay, bet.
Okay. So these are the different versions. We have Rolling Maze Silver Treasure. We have Gold Treasure. We have Eyes of a Sea Monster. We have which is actually really hard to see, Maze of the War God. We have Bathfire Phoenix. And those are the different options. So I'm going to go ahead and say my favorite. It is Eyes of the Sea Monster. Love Eyes of the Sea Monster.
Same.
Love those.
Mine is Gold Treasure.
Gold Treasure.
Gold Treasure. Love it.
So I think these are super, super interesting. And if you want to check out some really interesting detailed dice, definitely check these out if you're a dice goblin like me. But that being said, we are actually at the end of all of our projects that we have reviewed today.
You didn't... Did you score it? Did you talk about the price?
It.
Oh, I didn't score it.
It's literally dice, and you didn't roll for review. Oh my gosh,
I didn't roll for review. I am so sorry. I'm jumping ahead of things. I am going to give these... Gosh, oh my gosh. I am going to give these, because they are dice and I think they are designed very, very well. I am going to just give these a solid roll of a 13.
Nice.
Boom. I reviewed the dice. I am so sorry. I jumped ahead. There we go. I'm just so excited for our Fun Finds announcement.
Yes.
I am super excited. And you'll have to wait for a split second because I'm going to allow Joe and Hannah to talk about their Fun Finds before that.
My fun find is something that I found through reviewing Kickstarter pages this week. So I wanted to talk about it. We are going to look at Inkwell Ideas, and specifically we're going to look at their Sidequest Decks. Now, Inkwell Ideas is like this Kickstarter company that has a lot of kind of like cool kooky projects that they're like working on. They did like dungeon dice and town dice, and like they have like this online map thing. But I specifically wanted to look at their Sidequest decks because I think that this is a really cool thing. It is essentially a deck of cards, and on one side is a map. Oh yeah. And on the other side, is like all of the information that as a dungeon master you would need to help run whatever the scenario of the map is setting up. Really small, nice, cohesive package. I really like how they did this. And on their website, they have so many different ones. They have Arcane Academy. They have High Seas, Pirates and Ports, Horror Fantasy. Excuse me. Sorry. They have political and urban fantasy. They have all of these different things, wilderness and frontier fantasy. So all of these different side quest decks, and they are only $4.99.
Oh wow!
And if you or $12.95 if you want the printed version, right?
Yeah.
So if you just want the PDFs of them, it's $5. But if you want the printed version, it's $13. But if you buy 3 of these decks, it's free shipping.
Oh.
And
nice.
Take a look at the rest of the stuff that they have in their catalog, because they not only have just these types of decks, but they have NPC decks. They have all kinds of other types of things that you can buy. So they have lots of decks of lots of different things. And they're basically just putting a lot of GM resources into the functionality of a deck of cards, right? And so I really like this. I actually bookmarked this website because I will probably be coming back here to look for resources in the future for myself as a dungeon master to kind of like look at these concepts and see what kind of things I can like use to enhance my own campaign. But the reason I want to finish this, and I'm not going to like give it a roll, I'm not going to talk about the price point necessarily, but right now on Kickstarter they have 4 new decks up on Kickstarter. They have Monster Hunts, they have Small Towns, 2 different ones. They have Coastal Towns and Frontier Towns. And then they have one for Pulp Adventures, which is like Indiana Jones style adventures, right? So these are some really, really cool things. A lot of these town ones are all interconnected maps where like you could use it to like one thing leads to this thing leads to this thing. So you can use it kind of as like more of a cohesive campaign setting story to put into your own bigger world. So there's a lot of really cool stuff going on there. So Inkwell Studios or Inkwell Ideas is a really cool cool. They're doing some really cool stuff with the form factor of a deck of cards. So go to their website, buy some stuff from them. I think that their prices are incredible, and I really like $35 free shipping. So, you know, there's no reason not to pick up 3 decks, spend $40, give them some business, and get some decks of cards. And consider looking at their new campaign page and what their new stuff is, and backing their upcoming Kickstarter. So live right now on Kickstarter, it is doing really well. 600 backers, $39,000 raised as of right now. So check it out. Inkwell Ideas doing some cool stuff. That's my fun
Very
find.
cool. Very cool. That's super fun and very useful. Mine is for the warm and cozy D&D player, because it is a Dungeons and Dragons Sherpa fleece blanket with a vintage D&D map or Pathfinder map printed on it. So this is an isometric map that is on a blanket, so it's soft and cozy, and the reviews say that it's a really nice blanket. And could you imagine just sitting there with your cup of coffee, just being able to like play a little adventure? So I'm doing this because I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but I have a little freckle on my thumb.
Yep.
And then the crease of my thumb makes it look like it's smiling.
Oh
It
my
looks
I
like a
call it-
mole.
I
It looks
call
like a
it-
mole.
I call this thumb buddy.
Oh my gosh.
And I tell people when they're sad that somebody loves you,
Oh my god.
right? So
Your
this is-
high
I
school
made-
students must think you're the coolest teacher
They
ever.
love me. Somebody likes to sing them the birthday song sometimes about somebody loves you.
Wow.
So somebody has like his
Wow.
own personality and everything. Like somebody's a thing. My
Where
husband
are we?
hates somebody. My husband hates somebody so much. But
How
I
did
can
we
just
get there?
imagine this blanket and little somebody going
Running
on
around
a
the
little
map. I was
running
wondering
on
where
the
you were
little
going with
That's
this.
where I was going with this. Is that I want to spend $63 just to get somebody his own map.
Oh my gosh.
Walk around on the map because somebody loves you. So yeah, there you go. That's
I think that little side information brings up something about what I'm going to talk about
What
for my fun
just
find.
happened?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So confusing. However, I think
This is the kind of stuff that goes viral. Like, I have
I don't
no
know.
idea.
I was just looking at my thumb one day and I was like, he's smiling at me.
so that okay, I'm gonna talk about my fun find. And that is something that, you know, we talk about a lot of these really, really interesting projects. And I'm sure that you would like to see maybe how do we play some of these games? And that is what we're about to talk about. We are going to be introducing a new series where we, on Roll for Review, play through a one-shot campaign once a month. And we are going to be starting that probably, I believe, the start of next month. And it's super exciting. And we're going to be playing that live on our channel, moving to YouTube. Again, reminder there. But we will be starting a series where we play one-shot campaigns that most likely we have backed and purchased. We are super excited for this, and it gives you a nice glimpse as to how we play some of these games and introduces how you play some of the ones that we've backed and talked about on Roll for Review. And Joe, do you want to talk about the first one that we will be playing?
So we're going to be playing
Great time for a freeze, huh? Great time for it to freeze.
Lost it again.
Great time for it to freeze. What are we
We're
playing,
going
Joe?
to be playing Orbital by Mousehole Press, and this is going to be a really cool one-shot campaign. It plays in about 3 to 4 hours. We're going to try to get a little bit of like the creation character stuff done ahead of time, so it's not going to be like just sitting around thinking of ideas. We're probably going to come ready to play, give you the gist of what's going on. But this is a really, really cool one-shot campaign setting in which we are all players in this one bastion of peace within this intergalactic war in this basically rotting carcass of a space station. It's really cool. I back this, and I actually talked about his project after this one on Zine Quest. He had a Zine Quest project, but I backed this literally because I was so in love with this like really cool art style that they had in there.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the things that really made me back it. And I just was reading through the rules and I was like, this would make a great one shot for us to test out this opportunity to do it. So we will be getting some new players to join us, and we will be having some one shots that we're hoping to get done on the first of every month. So we're going to be starting in May with Orbital, running a one-shot campaign. So I'm really, really excited about this. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Super excited for that. But this means we have reached the end of the episode. So a couple reminders here. We will be streaming to YouTube in 2 weeks on our next episode. So definitely go over to our YouTube channel, like, comment, subscribe on that channel. I will link it again in the description. But please hit that bell if you want to get notifications for when we post new videos and when we go live. So definitely go to that YouTube channel and follow somebody to go to that channel.
Can we get Thumbuddy as like his own Twitter account?
Thumbuddy Twitter account? Oh my god. But thank you so much for watching and hanging out with us. We'll be back in 2 weeks again on our YouTube channel. This has been Roll for Review, and we will see you next time.
Remember,
Bye.
somebody
Bye,
loves you. Smile.
And with that, we're out.